Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. Have you ever felt like you needed to face a worst case scenario?
Yes.
It's kind of where I am right now, but I can't go into too many details around it. I may be too nervous to even eat what you've created for me here.
You don't even know what it is.
It's
a lunch.
It's a lunch.
Cucumber tomato sandwich.
That's the best case scenario. He kind of looks like Pac-Man. Waka 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 waka. Boo 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 boo. Love the sandwiches. And I love you. I'm running into a few technical difficulties that I cannot route around on my own, so I'm waiting to hear back from a few people to figure out how to get things done. Lucky for me, I didn't plan on doing this week's live stream of the Ask Me Anything video, where I answer everybody's questions, or as many people as possible, in one video. Diana must be making a smoothie.
Tomorrow we're gonna go see Jasmine and Slav, and they're having us over for dinner, so I decided I'm gonna bring over some guacamole. I'm on my way to the store, and this is a store I haven't been to yet. I think I'm also gonna get some type of soda. Like, they sell healthier versions of soda. And I think that should be it. She told me not to bring anything, but I still want to bring over, even if it's just a little appetizer.
Daddy, I just want you to know that I did not leave the poop there. It's not my poop that I know of. And if it is, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I could poop that big.
I got everything I needed. They had a very small selection, so I didn't like that. And their organic section was pretty small too. The guacamole tastes so much better when you use fresh squeezed lime juice. I feel like I want to say squozed. Fresh squozed.
That was weird. The handyman that we had been emailing back and forth with to help us address a few things we need to have fixed around the house that I'm afraid to touch, like plumbing and electricity, he just showed up at the doorstep. I mean, he wasn't uninvited. We knew he existed, but we didn't really nail down a date and time for him to be here.
And last night, I was putting on some of Chris's lip balm, and it was grapefruit flavored, so I had to get a grapefruit because I was craving it.
I also just found out that two of my tech content colleagues on YouTube, Tom Merritt and Callie Lewis, have Patreon campaigns themselves, and each one of them appears to be doing better than our community's doing at this point, but I think we can catch up. We're just 5 times behind them. I'd imagine more people will support what I'm doing when they find out, I hope. I'm not trying to make it into a competition, but it is interesting to see people come out and support their favorite content producers that way. I think it's going to be the norm at some point. I think it's a step in the right direction, certainly.
I should make extra and then have some left over or put some aside for the Super Bowl. I don't know. What should I make for the Super Bowl? Maybe salsa, because a lot of the same ingredients go into guacamole and salsa.
It's kind of like what Diana said to me in response to a tweet last night. She said, wouldn't you rather have 100 people who care about you in that way than 100,000 people who don't? And I think she's right. I mean, I think everybody cares, and I know not everybody could do it, and that's why a lot of people, when they start doing what I do, they quit. Because it's hard work. It's not easy. It's taken me 15 years to get to where I am now, and the game's constantly changing, and it's not to say that I do everything 100% perfect, because obviously I don't. I can concentrate and focus on what it's going to take to bring happiness to me, my family, to you, and to the world.
I also got Rockstar parking. As I was pulling in, somebody was pulling out of the very first row, like a foot away from the door, and I was like, yes! So I pulled in, and somebody was waiting for me to back out and leave right now. So they got Rockstar parking. Funny how it works out that way.
There are benefits and drawbacks to being self-employed. One drawback, taxes. Tax time is rolling around. Of course, I think everybody has to deal with taxes, but those who have a business and are self-employed, we have to deal with things differently than other people do. The biggest upside with being self-employed is controlling your direction, or at least as much as you can control. The downside is you sometimes don't know how the next month is going to play out. So you learn to become resourceful and realize that you don't want to waste a single minute in a day, or night if you're awake. You learn to increase stability and longevity. My business is the closest thing I've had to a child. And trust me, you do not want to change Locker Gnome's diaper. That said, change impacts us all. Diana appears to have gone walkabout. You gotta rely on yourself, and hopefully over time surround yourself with people who support you. I'm very lucky to have you. Very lucky. I'm also lucky to have this Russian Imperial Stout. What's the 511?
Hours later, Diana coming home with sushi she is.
Every single person I saw today was wearing something Seahawks.
Uh-oh.
I felt almost left out.
Yeah, I think we need to get some Seahawks stuff.
Yeah. Even the sushi chefs, you know how there's, on Saturday, there's a lot of them, like 8 of them? Mm-hmm. They were all wearing the same jersey with the same number. Even the busters.
Uh-oh.
Like, what?
We need to get some Seahawks stuff now.
I could probably get a t-shirt at that little tent. Baby, I brought you our date night home.
Oh, well, thank you.
With the beer. And I got you a Seahawks roll.
How appropriate.
To root for them tomorrow.
I'm still trying to figure out who the hell this 12th man is. I'm familiar with 12th Night, but that's a Shakespeare play.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I worked up a man-sized appetite. I was doing a lot of writing. Ended up posting it to one of my social feeds, explaining certain realities that people like me face, and you kind of, because you're creating vlogs and content. But that's what I do, right? You just got dragged kicking and screaming into it. Well, not so much kicking and screaming. Okay, there's probably more kicking and screaming than I care to admit. Although we don't really record that, but we should. Me thinking like a content producer again. What I was trying to explain is that supporters, or viewers, or community see a video and assume, well, there's advertising, therefore the content producer is making money. Well, that is true. The problem is the value of those ads have decreased over time. And you're paid out per 1,000 views. So as views on something decrease, and as ad revenues in general decrease, the value of that content to an advertiser decreases as well. The problem is, not to get too agitated here, the problem is the value of the content doesn't change, as I burp through the statements, to the person viewing it. Someone viewing the content may value it just as much, but the value of the content in the marketplace drops. And there's a huge discrepancy there, and I was trying to explain that best I could. Really, seemingly received with, I would say, an open mind from the people who read it and commented. It's just, I wish I could explain more. Like, here's, certain realities that I face and challenges that I face, and what you have to understand is that what you may see as a value is not necessarily what somebody else sees as a value. Or, I said, imagine this. You're working in a job, it may be a good job, but they say, I need a new pair of chopsticks. They may not say that, but if they do, I'll get them in a minute, don't worry about it. Let me finish my thought. Wicket, you stay away.
Wicket, thanks.
You're in a job. They decide that they're going to dock your pay. Whatever the percentage is. They're dropping your pay. It decreases. But they tell you, you got to do the same job. No, as a matter of fact, you got to do more, but we're going to pay you less. How long do you think it would take for someone to start looking for a new job? Or thinking, this just isn't working? Most people probably would go that route. I mean, yes, you're lucky to have a job. My point is the same thing happens with content producers, but we do not have the ability to just find a new job necessarily, because what are we going to do? Find more viewers? Well, we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And if those viewers who are seeing it now still value it just as much, but it's not worth as much, I just didn't want to come across as looking for sympathy. That wasn't the case. I was just trying to explain. I don't need sympathy.
Well, I think some people don't realize how hard YouTube is. Like, I've heard so many people
Or just
say...
content, not just YouTube.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've heard so many people say they create...
You want to see Diana?
Like, they're like, how hard can it be? You create one video a week. Like, and it's so easy. I wish I had your job, blah, blah, blah. But it's so much more than that. Like, people on YouTube literally, like, eat, breathe, and live YouTube. Like, our lives revolve around YouTube. And it's like a non-stop job, you know? As much as we enjoy it.
My job goes beyond YouTube.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, people that are, like, Patreon, you know, complaining about that and how easy it, like, so, you know, people are saying it's easy to just get on camera and talk. And
It is. It's simple to get on a camera and talk.
Right.
But to actually make that work for everybody involved, that's a challenge, especially over time. I think that's where there's a discrepancy.
Right.
Because you're talking.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was harder at the beginning for me.
Right, but imagine you could talk. Just because you have great value doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people are going to see it. It doesn't mean,
Right.
you know, one thing doesn't lead to another automatically. You know, we may not get seen. Who knows who's going to even watch this far into the video? We don't know.
Yeah. And when I say YouTube, I mean, that's the minimum of what you do. That's hard enough. On top of that, you have, like, 20 other projects going on.
And she's doing something I like to call self-editing, which I do all the time. She realized, look, she said something, but
Yeah.
you're I know, and that's why I love you, baby.
Because we get each other, but then I'm like, wait,
Right.
they might not.
Exactly. No, trust me, Diana sees more of what I do than anybody.
Yeah.
And that is why she feeds me well.
Yes. Here. Bam.
You win! Today's vlog may go down in history as the world's most normal vlog we've ever had. I mean, in the sense of, this is life.
Nothing crazy happened today. Yet. Dun dun dun.
And now, 2 minutes shy of 8 p.m., we're going to start live streaming for this week's Ask Me Anything. Don't ask me why it took so long. Well, you could ask, I just may not be able to answer. Chris Pirillo Late Night Edition. Uncensored? This could be fun. Thanks again for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and watching even more of our videos right now.